how much separation should we have with the puck and the stick blade when we shoot? Should we have more separation than Bedard, who pulls it in, he gets more separation, he stores that energy, and he more snaps it through? Or should we be more like Matthews, where he does toe to mid blade, where he keeps the puck more on his blade the whole time, he transfers his weight, he stores energy, and he also kind of releases it through, obviously. What's going to be better? Players bring it in, they get too much separation, no load, they shoot with their hands, okay? So a lot of times players are trying to snap without using their stick flex. They're not storing energy. The other issue we can have is where I'm going to use a 20 flex stick here for demonstration purposes. The other issue is that we can get too much separation, store a lot of energy, and then have it release before the puck, okay? So this would be similar to like an arrow. I've made the bow and arrow analogy where you put a bow on a string, or in this case here, the arrow is not actually on the string properly. So you pull a bow back, the arrow's not on the string properly. The string didn't put energy into the arrow. So that's essentially what can happen if you get too much separation with the puck. So Alex, on a few of these shots, you were storing energy with a lot of separation, more like Bedard, which is fine. But your energy was kind of releasing before the puck, and you're coming with an upwards angle of attack. So a couple things I want you to experiment with. Okay, if you want to keep shooting like this, we just got to get you doing more what Bedard does, that the stick isn't releasing as much before the puck. You can keep that separation, but you've got to close that blade, okay? Bedard really kind of closes the blade, and this hand here, he almost does this motion through the puck. So if you want to keep that separation, you got to make sure that that energy goes through, okay, through the puck and then to the target. So that's something you can experiment with, okay? Another thing you can try is you can shoot more like Matthews. This is how I like to shoot, because what Bedard's doing is pretty wild. I don't use as long of a stick as Bedard either, but Matthews, like he said in this last video that I posted, he doesn't use a whole lot of separation, and he made fun of Colby Armstrong for separating, and I think Colby was actually right. There's separation, obviously. We just proved it. But this, in my opinion, is a little bit easier, where you keep it on the toe a little bit more, okay? And then you transition your weight from left to right. You're a lefty as well. And then you're kind of naturally storing energy, and then you kind of release it rather than having to time the separation and snap it. But they're just two different shots. It's good to have a snap, and it's good to be able to keep the puck a little bit closer depending on the game situation. So experiment with this. I want you to keep shooting in all these different ways that you have. You have a lot of good tools in your arsenal. We just got to refine them. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing that I want to go over with you. The way you're storing energy in the stick and the way you're releasing, you're doing it at a high level. You got a good grip, you got good flex in the stick. That tells me you're doing a lot right. But one thing I want to work on is how we're getting your lower body involved. Okay, the first thing I notice when you're skating is on a lot of these shots, you're very upright in your posture, and you don't have a good shin angle. So that tells me that, one, you might lack ankle mobility, or two, we might just need to take the top eyelet out of your skates. This is something that McDavid does. A lot of high-level players do it, where you just take the top eyelet out of your skate. That's going to give you a little bit more, dorsiflexion. Yes, dorsiflexion, where you can get your knee over your toe. It's going to make you more athletic. So maybe experiment with how you're tying your skates. And then if we do dry land, I'd like to see how you squat, because a lot of hockey players squat like this. They can't actually squat and get their knee over their toe. So we got to look bigger, guys. This is what hockey balance is about. We look big. Okay, a lot of coaches just say, move your feet, shoot hard, but they don't look at how we're tying skates. They don't look how their players are squatting. They're not looking at the broader picture. So that's what I want to change. But why that's a problem, Alex, is that when you're shooting, let's say, I like how you're shooting. A lot of the times you're shooting off of 1 foot, which that's another tool in your arsenal. Okay, a lot of high-level players do this. Kessel, I think, was the best of all time at this. Okay, so when we watch Kessel shoot, he's a righty, but I'm going to do it as a lefty because we're both lefties. But when Kessel comes down, the leg that he's shooting, watch how much he gets into this leg. Okay, he's so athletic. All that weight is in like this, his knees over his toe, and it's just like, it's not this lackadaisical, thing like this. Okay, so we got to get you rooted into that leg. Okay, so that's something I'd want you to work on. It's just when you shoot, experiment on getting that shin angle, getting a little bit more knee over your toe, weight into that leg, because we got to get your lower body involved. So if you're going to shoot off one leg, do that. It's not wrong to shoot with a straight leg. Obviously, you know, we got to be able to shoot off a straight leg if we're off balance, or maybe we just want to get a quick shot off. You know, hockey's so complex. So it's not wrong what you're doing. I just want to give you more tools. Okay, so one shot that I see that you really like is you like to come down and you like to kind of almost shoot and then turn your edge in and then shoot with this leg straight like this. Okay, a lot of coaches say that that's wrong, but actually Bedard does this. So again, this is another tool that I like that you have. Okay, so I just want to refine it. So if you are going to come down and shoot like this, what I want you to do is, it's okay, yes, Bedard uses his leg as a post. It's his left leg that he uses as a post, but we're both lefties. But he comes and he kind of turns his edge in and he kind of posts it up and he shoots like this, straight in the leg. That's okay. What I want you to do is, instead of letting this leg flail right here, you're doing it where you're coming down and you're turning that edge in, you're straightening that leg, and then you're kind of like this and this leg is flailing. Watch Bedard do it. Okay, he's using so much torque in his lower body. He's posting up just like you are, but he's using his hips. So watch him do that. And I want you to try this as well. So how you're going to do that is, instead of, you know, posting up like this and then letting this leg flail like this, what I want you to do is come like this, you know, skate. And then if you like shooting off that straight leg, still post off of it, but right here, keep this leg rooted in, like, almost like that is what Bedard is doing. And he's really getting a lot of torque. And so that hip, your left hip, don't let it flail, let it rotate in, and then feel this right leg kind of push you back more like that. It's going to be so much more athletic. Alex, you already have so many great tools in your game right now. You know, you can shoot off of a straight leg with a lot of load, with a lot of separation, quick shot. You're able to shoot off your other leg with more of a post where you get on that inside edge and kind of push back. You know, you got a lot of great tools, but the one shot that I think you're missing, that I want it to be your foundation, and for my viewer, I think this should be everyone's foundational shot because it's the most powerful. Yes, you need to be able to shoot in all these other ways, but Matthews, in my opinion, he has the best shot of all time when it comes to transferring your weight and just using a full body. So what Matthews does, I'm going to show him in this clip. There's a clip of him shooting where he's in the offensive zone. I think he's towards the blue line, where he's kind of facing the guy like this. He comes out of like a crossover like this. He transitions this way, and then he gets really wide. He transitions from left to right, and then he gets that shin angle and all his athleticism into this right here. Almost that much knee bend. It's crazy. It's like all his energy's like this. So yeah, Matthews is better at that than anyone probably of all time. So how are we going to do that, Alex? Is where maybe you set some pucks up or you have someone pass to you. You start like this. You do kind of like a defensive cross or like a C cut into a crossover. I can't really demonstrate this on dry land, but you know what I mean, where you're like this, like Matthews did, and then you kind of transition backwards, and then you get on your inside edge here. You get in that corkscrew mechanic where you're wide, and then you're like this transitioning. And I really want you to transition your weight like this, where your knee's over your toe, where you can really shoot into your shot like this, full body shot. So I think that's the shot that I would practice the most if I was you, because right now, a lot of your shot, you're very upright. You know, you're shooting into this post and you're flailing that way. You got a lot of good tools, but this is the foundation shot that everyone needs to practice. So you already got the right grip. If you guys want more on the grip, watch my older videos. I'm not going to go over that with Alex because he's already a stud with his grip. I mean, the way you're loading the stick, buddy, I love that.